Motorcycles is a way of life. It's a bloody risky machine, but you still do it because it's so much fun. And there is no other way to do it. Over the shores, save the people. 5 years ago, I used to be an HR professional in a financial firm. I used to ride to work every day. And it's just one of those days when I said that there is just not enough happening in the motorcycle world in terms of the life. We want to make motorcycle life easier, and that's why I said it's more of a culture. And when they buy from us, they probably feel that yes, these guys ride motorcycles and they know their motorcycles. We are not a product company, we are a lifestyle, we are a thought process, and it's just a motorcycle way of life. I just wanna be a superhero. We make products primarily out of leather, but the idea behind the company is much bigger than that. People always felt that things coming down from India will not be high quality stuff. Now it's taken us 3 years to convince them that yes, Tribhushi can make really good stuff. I think India is a very growing market. It's a very vibrant market. It is a market to be in. It is also a very vegetarian economy. What I mean is when we make leather, half the people don't buy it because it's leather. Internationally, we currently sell in a lot of countries, Europe being our biggest market, the Americas is what they sell as well. Then we sell in South Africa, in Japan, in Korea. Internationally, we have done a lot of retail tie-ups so that people can go to the store and check these stores out. Domestically, we've done a few tie-ups, but not too many. Unfortunately, there aren't too many stores which can have the same vibe that we want to give to our customers. And hence, we've stuck to online more in India and a bit of offline more. We started off with leather goods and we will soon get into coffee. There was no financial help that I took from my family, even though my family wanted to give it. How it all started was when I decided to do this. I stopped spending and I started saving. So the philosophy is simple. If you can't make it work in X money, you can't make it work in X plus Y. A lot of people say you gotta work smart and not work hard. I say that if you can work smart and do it more often, you will just get better. If you keep enjoying what you're doing, it just doesn't feel like work. So now vacations are more boring than coming to work.
I want to leap over buildings, want to fly over the shores.
I'm pretty happy to play a part where we kind of kick-started the whole scene and through Comic Con, and then now we get to create a championship, give some of them a chance to go compete internationally, see the international circuit as well.
To be honest, I completely sacrificed my weekends for this.
It's a very proud feeling when you say that you can go head to head with those other cosplayers from throughout the world.
Cosplay is a very niche thing anywhere in the world. It's even more niche in India. It's been growing really fast in the past few years. A lot of people who are doing it amateurly are now turning professional. There's a good small boutique industry of really talented guys and girls who are building costumes for other cosplayers as well. So it's growing, there's tons of clubs across India. It's a burgeoning scene and it's really exciting to see something grow so fast. There's some really good talent out there. Some of them are now getting recognized internationally and publishing internationally as well. We had one of them at Bangalore Comic Con, Ram B. He's now published with Image Comics, which is a massive thing to achieve. So yeah, I mean, there is that whole scene there. There is an affinity towards comic books in India in general. Honestly, from a business perspective, it's been great. We came in at a good time where all of this was kind of starting off. You know, the Avengers was just coming through, the comic books was starting to come into India, OTT hadn't come in. So there's a lot of new content out there, and Comic-Con ends up being in a very sweet spot where, because of its unique nature and the type of crowd that it pulls in, we're able to pull in all aspects of pop culture. So not just comics, TV shows, films, gaming, everything. And luckily for us, all of that is booming right now in India in terms of interest. And we end up being a platform where that gets showcased.
Give a round of applause for the ultimate winner of Indian Championship of Cosplay, that is Akshay Churi. Zorlar taaliyan ho jaye Akshay Churi ke liye. Congratulations Akshay Churi, you are the best cosplayer of the country, India, for this year.
We have been watching cosplay on the internet from a very long time, and it was high time we did something of our own. We also want to show to the entire world what we are capable of. Comic-Con India is providing that opportunity to us. Not only you can display your talents locally, but once you win, you are eligible to participate in Chicago at the Crown Championship, and you can actually show your talents to the entire world.
In our country, a lot of alternative artists like us, we don't get a platform like this. So having something like Comic-Con India and the Pop Culture Fest, the Indian Championship of Cosplay provides an incredible platform for us, and it's just amazing. I'm really grateful to the entire team for giving us this opportunity. And yes, it's all worth it. It's all worth it at the end.
It's very easy to be part of it. You can dress up very simply and suddenly be a cosplayer. It is all upon your interest and passion as to how far you want to take it. And most of the kids that you see who participate at Comic-Con, these guys are doing it all by themselves.
So start ignition, count to zero. I just wanna be a superhero.
One of these days when I went to a campus to give a talk, that's where I realized that there's a big problem of commuting within the big campuses. I thought that why not by way of bicycle sharing, we can solve something like that and then grow that concept. For the last mile of 10% distance that people want to go to their homes or their office or the public places, they spend almost 50% more time, 60% more money to cover that distance. So I thought that let's replicate the model that we've thought of for the campuses to the cities. So it's India's first Dockless bicycle sharing app. Dockless means stationless, or which means park anywhere. All you need to do is to just have the Mobici app on your phone. You scan the QR code, the bicycle automatically unlocks, and that's when your ride starts. You can go park anywhere, you can lock it manually, and your ride is done. You can call this bicycle as an anti-theft, bicycle. So what we've done is we've placed a GPS device on every bicycle. We've also worked, on a satellite monitoring mechanism, right? We have worked on special screws which nobody can find, tools for. We've made tubeless tires. I think in India, the model that China has done will not work. So with government, what we've done is we've got special places which are bicycle parking zones. We are also doing a lot of geofencing thing. We are giving people credit points to park it at the right place, teaching them through the app, the right parking measures that they need to take. And the third thing is we are asking people to help us park well. So with people, with government and with technology, we are kind of solving this for the first time in India. I have worked 12 years in the industry. I started with an MNC by the name Dell. From there I went to an Indian MNC which is Airtel. Then from there I went to Snapdeal, nurtured startup you can say. And then I went to MobiQuick, which is again a startup but a much smaller startup, 200 people short team. So I think from the international MNC to Indian MNC to startup, the logical progression was for me was to do something of my own. I bootstrapped this venture with 25 lakhs from my own pocket. Me and my co-founder, we put in that money, we started doing it. And then thankfully we got an angel in the journey to join us. He's pumped in $500,000 in the business, right? So that has given some more muscle to us. The governments who are supporting, they are really believing in this as a concept. They want to solve this by themselves. And if a private player is trying to come out and put the bicycles on the streets to solve their problems, they are more than open. I would really love if the central government make a real policy which is just replicated by all the states as a guideline that let's do it, let's make the country a cycling country.
So start ignition, count to zero. I just wanna be a superhero.
So we never started with the objective of raising funds, honestly. We wanted to make it work on our own accord first, which is what we did. We put in our own money. I got a couple of friends together to say, guys, let's try to do this because I have a very strong feeling that this will work.
Rob the stores, write my name upon the sky, and when you call me, I'll be
So as a company, our main motto is to solve problems that women face on the go in the intimate hygiene and wellness area. We came up with Peabody, which is India's first female urination device, using which women can now stand and pee in all such toilets. So whether you're taking a longer flight, you're going for treks, concerts, marathons, or you have any medical condition. So today you don't have to wipe the seat or make chairs or hold it in. You can use Peabody and stand and urinate. So one problem, once you start working on one problem, the whole box opens, right? So the second problem that came out from the same exercise was disposal of sanitary products was a problem. So how do you dispose of your sanitary pads, tampons, panty liners? So we came up with the oxo-degradable disposal bags. These are tamper-proof. Launched intimate wet wipes to clean your intimate areas. We were amongst the first ones to do them. Underarm sweat pads for excessive sweating or extreme weather condition, so sweat patches and all that is now taken care of. And the last product that we introduced was India's first herbal feminine pain relief patch. So during periods, during any sort of cramps that you get, you don't need to now pop a pill and you can just use our patch. It's absolutely herbal, so safe for you and you can sleep well. First year we only did 20,000 units of Peabody. Last year we did about 100,000 units of Peabody. That's the growth. We're looking at tripling it this year. Valuation, we got a 15 crore post-money valuation from. So within the house, there was a proof of concept. When they used it, they were like, brilliant, it works well. When I went out and when I started getting positive feedback from customers, some of them cancer survivors, I think, that's where it just doesn't want you to give up. I think so. I thrive on these positive comments and feedbacks that we get. When I started with Peabody, going and talking about intimate hygiene thing, and when I went and I took the product, which is shouting out of rooftops saying freedom to stand and pee, most men took me very lightly. I think they said it was just a joke or something. But I didn't give up. So I think that's one thing which is my personal mantra, that if you're at it, you can crack it. I think that's what I follow in life. If you have a dream, if you have a project which you feel will work, unless you try it with your full heart, you can't just let anybody else tell you whether you work or not.
So start ignition, count to zero. I just wanna be a superhero.
in my head I'm still thinking that I want to do a business, I want to do a business. This doesn't make sense to me. But everything, how come parents and your folks or your friends and everybody like, you should do masters, you get a better job, etc. But job was never in my mind. I used to always think about how can I think about something which can actually make an impact.
My name upon the sky, and when you call me, I'll be there faster.
So how I look at a brand is, in terms of Stay Aboard, is we celebrate individuality. I don't believe that people should be staying in subprime or substandard conditions. And if you look at the millennial audience who we talk to, they either, what kind of options do they have? They have an option of staying in a very, very funny or a very damaged PG, or the other option is either you share in a flat with a few friends.
What we're trying to do at Stay Aboard, right, is to really offer a more meaningful and upgraded lifestyle to the urban millennials.
And there is also a layer of service, so housekeeping, security, Wi-Fi, all utilities are taken care of by us.
For a person to just bring in his clothes and settle down and in the next few days make a bunch of friends and really feel like he's lived there all his life.
I used to travel to India and Europe. It was all solo backpacking. So that's when that idea started lingering in my head, and I started making small jot down points about the whole business idea. But for the idea really to come into picture, that came in when I was working for hostels and while I was traveling by myself.
So Viral and I were previously working at a startup, and we had a very good sort of working relationship. And with Stay Aboard, also with Devashish, his sort of approach to solving problems is very different from ours.
When we first started, we were just the three of us, right? We did Ashish and Varun. And the idea is we were doing everything, right from finance to sales to looking after operations to thinking of how to grow this, building up the technology, right? That was an extremely, I'd say, critical moment for us, right? Because a lot of early realization on how to scale this happened then. We've been using a whole lot of space design, right? That sort of helps us design places in a way that will increase human interaction.
People who stay in and around are also like-minded people. Right? So you can always go in and have a chat as compared to coming back home and just sitting down and watching a TV or getting down with your laptop. Or you can probably go have a coffee with them.
The idea is really get people to talk with one another and feel like they're a part of a larger community.
So at Stay Aboard, our residents stay with us for an average of 7 months, and they spend around 12 hours with us on a daily basis at our property. So the amount of time we have to impact their lives on a daily basis, increase happiness for them, make them more productive by making sure that they're cared for.
All our properties are named after a butler, and that's just to go ahead on the concept of saying that we are the butler and you're the superhero.
On the technology front of things, we're now really focusing on using technology to drive community, right? To help people understand who else is living with them, what their interests are, and what's essentially there in common, right? Because there has to be something in common for people to build community and be a part of the same community.
The idea has evolved in terms of how we've learned from the market, what the space requires, what people require, stuff like that. But in terms of evolving the product, we're still in the process of figuring it out and stuff like that. We're still figuring out the right touch, what people need.
As we launched, realized that a whole lot of people wanted to stay with us for 6 months, 8 months, 9 months, 11 months. So that's how the idea sort of came to life. To then take this from a short-term accommodation business model to a long-term accommodation, right? Which is why now our rental agreements start at 3 months and they go as high as 11 months. We work with a full inventory model, right? So we pick up an entire building right from the terrace to the basement on a long-term lease, right? We do up the interiors and then convert that into a co-living space, and then we sub-rent it out to our residents, right? So the idea is that you can move in with us and take either an entire unit all by yourself, right? Or you can share the unit with another person, right? Either ways, rents typically range from anywhere between 11,000 to as high as 17,000, 18,000 a person if you're taking a shared accommodation. If you're taking a unit all by yourself, it can start at 12,000, 13,000 and go as high as 35,000. So we've done 2 rounds of funding so far. The first one was led by Ishan Manaktala. Ishan is COO at IHS Market and also leads an early stage investment company called Venture Vida. The second round was led by Incubate Fund. We also had Sanjay Shinoy of Legacy and Mridul Upreti, ex-JMD at JLL participating.
I think success can look very different to different people. In my mind, success is maximizing your happiness. Whatever gives you happiness, you maximize that.
When you're remembered for good, you're remembered for doing something really good, how much impact has that person made?
But a couple of things I think that I wish someone told me maybe 1-2 years back is to really be able to learn how to trust people faster.
Today if someone asks me about did I make the right decision or did I make how do you feel about the decision? I would say, I'm very happy. I think I've learned much more than I could have ever thought of learning probably just another month.
I just wanna be a superhero. With fearless thoughts, emotions swirl. I wanna be the man that saves the world.
So we are basically saying that how do you make your existing infrastructure a smart infrastructure? How do we deliver energy efficiency in the existing infrastructures?
Save the people from the villains. Catch the crooks who
If you look at the problems that are faced by retail chains and banks, they tend to have very large distributed infrastructures. These distributed infrastructures, create massive governance problems around the operation of their electrical infrastructure. We decided to solve this problem by building Wattman, which is a fully automated energy control and monitoring product. What it does is it automatically controls major electrical loads at these outlets or stores.
So such a product didn't exist in the market. There was a need for this product, but the biggest challenge for us was to create awareness about the product, that what problems this product solves.
So now you have a centralized control platform, the efficient operation of these electrical assets. Plus the product also monitors their real-time energy consumption and temperature for compliance purposes. And eventually we use a lot of machine learning and artificial intelligence.
So let's say you walk into your office at 9 a.m. in the morning and the building is already pre-conditioned, which means somebody turned on the air conditioning much before you walked in, right? So how much earlier should the air conditioning be turned on is largely based on thumb rules. Using the data that we collect, we will analyze the cooling rate of the building, and looking at the weather outside today, we were able to predict to say that today you should switch on at 7:48 to guarantee that by 9 o'clock your building will reach out to 24 degrees Celsius.
Also, Zenetics, engages with the customers in a subscription-based model. So some collection of benefits way higher than the subscription pay cost of our product, which means that the customers really become cash flow positive, right from first month.
So we raised our first round back in 2015. We raised an angel round from a bunch of very reputed angels in India. So the likes of Rajan Anandan, founders of Snapdeal, both Rohit and Kunal, Rahul Khanna. And after that, we also managed to raise a small seed round from Blue Ventures. So for the next round, we met pretty much every single VC and the pre-Series A investor in the country. So we were fortunate. We managed to raise about 8 crores from Pi Ventures and Bloom Ventures.
So Vishal, Amarjeet and I have been friends for more than 18 years now. We went to college together. That was IIT Delhi, class of 2002. So the best thing about working with your friends, you know each other for so many years, is really the trust that you would have with each other.
at times it happens that because you go back so many years and you have strong friendship, you sometimes are not that critical as you should be of the other person.
Maybe at times we do get a little more relaxed and may not question the thought process of the other person.
So we do a lot of brainstorms, but sometimes, in lack of positive time, we'll say that, you just run with it and I'll rally behind you. Don't be an entrepreneur because everybody else wants to be an entrepreneur.
I think that's the biggest mistake. Because the moment you start becoming your own boss, that means you have much more responsibilities.
I think you really need to be passionate about the problem that you're solving, because if you don't solve that problem, you're not going to get anywhere.
You may build something that you think will solve the problem, but it may not be the right solution, which means that you need to sort of iterate multiple times, like we did.
When you are running a startup, and even if you are working in a startup, you are not working in one particular function. That something has to be very, very clear to everybody, that your job, if you are a software developer, your job is not to write the best code. Your job is to write the best code that can drive business for the company.
So start ignition, count to zero. I just wanna be a superhero.
When you go and tell somebody that you want to start a company, the first reaction is, "Chala Murari hero banne."
Want to fly over the shores, save the people from the villains.
By the time I was 33, 34, the amount of money that I was getting was much more than what I was expecting. And that's the reason, I was not able to start my venture, because there's always a fear of losing. So after a lot of my internal fight with my own self, I decided, okay boss, this is the time that you need to take a plunge. And it was in 2009, I took the plunge, starting the company called Vice Travel India Private Limited with almost zero capital from the scratch. I'm happy that we took that plunge. In 2015, we started Aweg, which is of course a new concept. And Aweg is globally the only organization which is into transport MSP. So when we say MSP, what it means is managed service provider. So we go to a large corporation and we say that, okay, we will be managing the entire transportation for you. Be it their employee transportation from home, office home, be it their car rental services, be it their leasing. So there are three things that we want to do. We want to optimize their transport cost, optimize their overall requirement, and by that, if they are able to get some carbon footprints, I think that is the value addition to the client. Let's say today they are using some 1,000 vehicles and we are able to reduce it to 700 vehicles. That is another economy that they are going to contribute to the society. Our suggestion to any of such large organizations is, you please concentrate on your core activity and we will give you not only peace of mind, but also at the same time economies, optimization and decongestion.
I think this company, Aweg, is leveraging technology, leveraging data to disrupt this industry. Something I find very, very exciting. I think the transportation, employee transportation industry, corporate transportation industry is something which is ripe for disruption. It's an industry which is still today, by and large, works very much like it did 10, 20, 30 years ago. It's still a very highly fragmented industry, and I think Aweg is the agent which is going to make it happen.
Aweg is not into providing cars. Aweg is only into management, and we don't even aggregate cars. So let's say you are one of my client and you require some 300 cars. So there is a normal process of RFP which is carried out, request for proposal, which is called. So some of the large players are called for the negotiations for selecting them, and then there are checks and balances which are put in place as to which car needs to be inducted, which car cannot be inducted, what are the compliance parameters. So all that is checked before they actually get into the system. And all the cars actually are equipped with the technology that is provided, because without that you cannot bring in any economy. If you talk about employee transportation, if you talk about any of these things, the backbone of the system is the rostering and the routing software. How many people are supposed to travel in a particular vehicle? So if that is strong, then possibly your entire proposition is workable, otherwise no. So one of the challenge in this business is gestation period is too long. So let's say if we start talking to one organization today, it might take 6 months to 9 months to close the entire deal. And then you have to get into the DNA of that organization, understand what they need, what is their expectations from the service provider.
In the past and still largely today, the industry sells kilometers and hours. When you buy a ride, you're buying so many hours, so many kilometers. But is that really what the customer wants? No, especially if it's a corporate customer. What they want is the employees getting transported. They want a reasonably high quality of service, they want reliability, they want safety, and the cost should be linked to their outcomes, not to the inputs, which is the kilometers or hours. And that's what Aveg is doing. So it's saying, look, we will make sure that your people move to the SLAs, to a high quality service, and you pay for what you get, not for what number of kilometers we consume.
So today we have around 8 to 10 customers who give us business more than 50 crores a year.
Ashok, he's a fantastic entrepreneur. He's bootstrapped this company from nothing to one of the largest companies in the space today, and continues growing very, very rapidly. Phenomenal execution. A very hungry, very passionate entrepreneur executing very well with a great vision.
If you are able to think, speak, dream business, then possibly yes, you should become an entrepreneur. Don't depend on anybody else, but it has to be your own strength that you have to capitalize on. Don't start with the intent that somebody will come and give you money. You should have enough money to sustain. Your business model should be such that if you need money, it has to be on your own terms. And at least for 3 to 4 years, trust me, there's no family life, there's nothing. And most of the time, even when you reach home, you're not in the mood to talk to anybody else. Stop looking at the world, because they will demotivate you to such an extent that most of the time you'll be only thinking about that this is not going to work. One of the questions people used to ask me is, what is different in this company that you are going to do? So my answer used to be, okay, there are some 2000 companies, I am 2001, so let me try and survive first. Let my head be above the water, then we'll think about the new things.
Hustling and hacking are very different things. We hate the word jugaad. I think the glorification of jugaad in India is a very
Fly over the shores, save the people from the villains, catch the crooks.
So Locus broadly stands for the best-in-class technology in supply chain. Tomorrow, if blockchain-based smart contracts become the mainstream, Locus will build the very best of them.
So Dockless is a team of senior engineers from Amazon Web Services and PhDs who dedicatedly work in the field of transport, logistics and supply chain.
So what we aim to do is, if you are a logistics company, we want to be your entire tech stack. So anything and everything that brings in inefficiencies in logistics, we want to solve that for you.
Instead of just answering the question where the truck is via GPS tracking, we broadly answer the question where the truck should be. So when we left Amazon and we started this, so we had some few core theses. One was like, we want to solve an open problem. Second was, we wanted quality to be a defining characteristic. Like more than logistics, more than technology, more than supply chain, whether more than sales, more than product. Like our code should not break in production. Our sales emails should not have a typo. Their font should be perfectly aligned, and my design should be pixel perfect. My communication should be professional. Everything should be metricized.
Typically, our clients are SMEs to enterprises. So we are positioned that way. Like we position ourselves as a very, very premium offering. Mainly big enterprises who will benefit from our platform.
I had joined Amazon to work on building machine learning models to fight credit card fraud. I used to live in a hostel before that in BITS Pilani, and now I moved to a new city. So we thought, let's build a tool which lets you message people that are around you, even without knowing them beforehand. So we built this technology known as Pin Chat, and that's how we got into the whole location-based technology. Then in November-December 2014 was the infamous incident where a passenger was compromised by a driver. A week later, my sister was just coming back to Bangalore and she just messaged me at night that, hey, see you home in 45 minutes. And that sent me into a slightly irrational panic attack. That time there was no location tracking, nothing, right? I would, Didi, can you share location on WhatsApp every 10 minutes? And that led Geet, my co-founder, and I to think that, is there a way to prevent something like this from happening? So we built an app which has a route deviation feature. It's a women's safety app known as Ride Safe. It constantly monitors how your driver is taking you to your thing. If it detects like a route which is there's no rational reason for him to go there, it alerts you. If you don't react, it... Incidentally, in March 2015, when the whole food tech industry was booming up, a couple of startups started using RideSafe to track the delivery boys, or so we thought. When we talked to them, they said, no, we are not even tracking, but if they get a deviation, then we know. Which was a very critical insight. So now in supply chain, there was a whole GPS thing that came in, a few years back, and there's a lot of now data available. There's a bunch of, plus with the IoT, there's even more sensors available. So now we know our data, we know the statuses and everything, but there was no decision-making engine on top of it, right? And that was very interesting. And there was no known engine which would work in India, because in India the physical world is even more complex. And that's how, as engineers building a B2C chat app, we ended up building a large B2B enterprise focus organization.
We want to be involved in tracking and monitoring 1% of the entire world transport movement. 20-year vision, so I guess 0.5% of that in 10 years.
So we've gone through a couple of rounds. The first round was a seed round, where we picked a small 250k check from a clutch of angels like Amit Ranjan, who's the founder of SlideShare, GrowX, which is a boutique firm investing in deep tech B2B, Manish Singhal, who now runs Pi Ventures, Rajesh Ranawat, MD of Lee Fund Capital, right? So this was our first round of seed capital, with which we built the team and built like the first iteration of the product. Then in 2016, we had raised our Series A. This was led by Xfinity. Xfinity is the venture arm of Infosys founding team, along with Bloom Ventures and BNext from Asia Pacific. Right. We've been pretty lucky with our investor group. They have both been extremely supportive and as well as proactively helpful in giving us enterprise connects and connects into other startups to help us sell our solution.
People tell you that it's not easy and it's going to be difficult, but no one can actually tell you how difficult it's going to be. We were of the opinion that once we get our first round of funding, it will be smooth sailing from there on. It didn't happen. But then we thought when we get the next round of funding and we'll have a slightly bigger team, then it will be smooth sailing. Didn't happen. And it's getting more and more difficult. Like there are a lot more new battles to fight every single day.
As a startup with limited resources and bandwidth and people, you will always be crunched for time. You will always slip on some things. Be sure to understand what tasks are important and what tasks are urgent, and you are not constantly prioritizing urgent over important.
A lot bigger problem is not knowing what to do. So there is no rule book, there is no playbook that you can go by. There are no steps that you can take. So that absence of any guidance or anything, I think that's the biggest challenge. You should have an idea of where you want to be, but the journey, it's a huge unknown. So it will change, it will be scary, but you just keep going. But at the same time, you need to know when to give up.